Hi, today I'm gonna talk you through the deck study that I did on the Legendary Ladies Oracle. This is by Anne Shen, published by Chronicle Books. So, I don't know if you can tell by my energy, but I am a little bit disappointed. It's not just that it's sort of late at night that I'm filming this. I did a deck study on this, and I already shared my deck study on the Dark Mirror Oracle deck as well as the Muse Tarot deck, and I'm gonna start a deck study on another tarot deck right after filming this. And I'm gonna also do a video on specifically the steps of my deck study that I do, but I'm gonna talk you through it. So this box is empty. I have two piles of the cards here. And this is what the cards look like. They are beautiful, which is why I got them. They are long. This deck is a goddess deck, so it has all goddess energy. And here you can see like Kali, and there are goddesses from all over the world, from all different cultures are in here, and it all has, all the cards have the name of the goddess, most of which I cannot pronounce, and then a keyword. So I hoped that because of the keywords, I would be able to use this as an oracle deck. And I have just been having a very hard time working with this as an oracle deck. Some cards I really resonated with and I got instant hits, especially after I've already done a reading, and that is how I like to use oracle most of the time, is to do a tarot reading first and then add oracle when I feel like I need it. So oftentimes I don't even use oracle because the tarot is enough. Okay, so I don't even know a little bit where to start, but I'm first gonna start on the deck itself. So again, it's beautiful. The deck has 58 goddesses, so that's quite a lot. And we have goddesses from Vietnam, Egypt, Hawaii. They're Hindu goddesses. There are Mayan goddesses, Chinese, Greek, Norse, Japanese, Sumerian, Celtic. There are so many goddesses in here, and the cards are gorgeous. They're longer, they are quite flexible, so they do make for a great shuffle. But as you can see, these are not all the cards. And it also comes with a little guidebook that has about this much information for every card. And there is a bigger book that you can buy that I believe is also called Legendary Ladies, and it's similar to the Tarot of the Divine, where you have the deck and then you have a separate book. And in this case, the separate book has the stories of the goddesses. I didn't get the book because I first wanted to know if I like this deck enough that I wanted to spend the money on an individual book. And I've come to the conclusion that I don't. And I'm gonna talk to you why. Because I think it's important. And it was part of my deck study to sort of realize this and to accept this about this deck, because I really want to love this deck. I love the idea. I love the idea of goddess energy to work with in a tarot reading. I love to have that as like an oracle deck with keywords that can give me intuitive hits so I can implement it in a reading. But it's just that is not the way that it is working for me. These are not all the cards. I have a bunch of cards here, and these are all the cards that I get like 0 intuitive hits out of. So the way that I sort of went about this was I put all of the cards in alphabetical order, because that is how they are laid out in the guidebook. And then I got my little oracle journal. This is where I have my Barbary Zodiac Oracle and Dark Mirror Oracle worked out, and now also my Legendary Ladies Oracle. So what I did was I got the card. For the first one, it has Aditi, and then I used the guidebook as well as the keyword, in this case creation, to make like my own oracle sentence or keywords. But I was having so many struggles to come up with oracle card meanings that I can actually implement in a reading. And I just feel like, for me, this is not meant to be an oracle deck, and I don't know what it is meant to be for me. because I don't work with goddesses. I don't work with deities. That is not what I do in my practice. My practice is tarot. I like manifestation. That is the sort of thing that I like, but not deity work. That's not, I don't think it's in my path. So I don't know how to work with this deck. And that is sort of the struggles that I had while doing this deck study. Let me see if I can. So in this case, like I said, we have a deity, beautiful, beautiful card. And then the only thing that I could come up with was be the change you want to see in the world, create at will, a lot of potential. And those are all things from the guidebook. That is like, there's barely anything off of my own intuition that I was able to put in the oracle, in the oracle journal that I have. While when it came to my Muse tarot deck study, that was pretty much all of my own intuition with the cards, because the cards really, really spoke to me, and these cards just don't speak to me. And it has nothing to do with where the goddesses are from. Like, there's no Dutch goddess here, okay? We don't have goddesses in the Netherlands. Not like that folklore, you know? It doesn't have anything to do with that. It is just that for many of these cards, I don't get intuitive hits. And while I was working through this, and it's like 58 cards, so I wrote 58 cards down with meanings, for a large part that I knew I wasn't going to be able to use. We also have this one. So the card is Spider Woman, and it says Universal Connection. And the best I could come up with was center yourself and tap into all connections within and above you. But I don't see how I can practically use that as an oracle card in my readings. And that was the entire problem that I was having with this deck. So this video, I guess, is less of a deck study, because I'm not gonna go through everything that I wrote down, because I don't think there's much value in there, and that is what I want this video to be. I want this video to have value. So for the other deck study videos, the value was my interpretations of every card, so that you can use that, hopefully, if you have the deck and you struggle with making interpretations for your own cards. But because I struggled so much with making interpretations for these cards, I think that there's only one thing for me to do with this deck, and that is to declutter it. And I'm not gonna lie, I really don't like the idea of decluttering this deck, because I think it's really, really pretty. I love the artwork so much. Like, when I saw this, I was instantly so obsessed with this artwork, and I could look at this forever, and I want like my portrait done in this art style. I think it's gorgeous. But when I get this, like, resurrection, I don't know what to make of the resurrection. What do you mean? And then while reading through the guidebook and making my oracle journal, there were like 10 cards that had the same message of letting go and moving on. And like a simplified version or more complex version of basically that. So I felt like there was too much repetition in the meanings of this deck. And that is not what I like in my oracle cards. I want my oracle cards to be very specific. I think that that is something that I've learned throughout my deck study with this, as well as the Dark Mirror Oracle, because that one is super specific in that I use that when I want to do shadow work. When I want to look at underlying shadow behavior, shadow habits, if you will, that someone is hiding. That is when I use the Dark Mirror Oracle, because it is perfect for that. And I think I want more oracle decks like that. So not as it like with keywords that I can sort of interpret in readings. I have tarot for that. I don't need oracle for that. I want oracle for something that I find hard to do with my tarot, and that I want oracle for. So I think that though the deck study as a whole, I guess, was unsuccessful, because I wasn't able to really study this deck to be able to work with it. However, I did learn something from it, and that is what I don't want out of an Oracle deck anymore. So there are a couple of Oracle decks that I have now also listed to declutter, which I will talk about in, I think, my March show and tell that hopefully will be up next week. But yeah, I hope you're going to see this deck there. I hope I'm going to be able to declutter it, because I don't think I'm going to be able to use this, and I want to give someone else the opportunity to use this deck instead if I am not going to use it. But yeah, that is, I think this is just starting my journey into what is it that I really want out of an Oracle deck. Because I think just a card with a keyword isn't always enough. And especially with these, like this is meant to be goddesses, so there's not necessarily a lot of intuitive hits out of the artwork itself, especially if I don't know a goddess. It's tough because the cards feel nice. I love the vibe of it. I love the artwork of it. I can't put it in practice, and that is why I buy decks, to use them, and I can't use this one. So now I would love to hear your thoughts on this deck, and I would also like to hear if you have experienced something similar. Like, I am low-key a little bit mad at this deck that I can't use it, and it's not like the fault of this deck, because there are plenty of other ways to use this deck, like if you are into deity work, or you, yeah, like not even if you necessarily want to work with a goddess, but you can ask like what sort of goddess is present, or what sort of goddess energy is present. But that is not how I work. So I don't feel comfortable using this deck for that, if it makes sense. But yeah, I feel like this was more of a rant, but I just really wanted to share this. I hope this is valuable for you, that sometimes it is okay to not like a deck, and to not connect with it, and to not really know how to use it, because maybe it doesn't just doesn't fit in your practice. And it doesn't make it a bad deck. It doesn't invalidate your practice. It's just not a match. So I would love to hear any of your thoughts on this topic in the comments down below. I'm gonna mourn this deck because I know it has to leave my collection. I know it does. It makes sense. But the cards are so pretty. The cards are so pretty. Yeah, I'm just sad putting everything back together. Now it's everything in the box again. So yeah, and I already know about one deck that I used in the month of March and how it did not work out. So yeah, if you want to book a personal one-on-one tarot reading with me with not the Legendary Ladies Oracle, then you can click the link in the description down below. It'll take you either to my Ko-fi page or my Etsy shop. That is where you can book a reading with me. You can also subscribe to this channel if you want to see more deck studies, tarot, chat videos. What else? I do pick a card readings. So yeah, subscribe if you want to see anything like that. But for now, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.